What's up, JEFusion fans? This is Philip, and welcome back to another video. So, with already 4 episodes out, what do I think of Kamen Rider Gotchard? So, this is going to be more of a first impressions review. So, don't worry about any spoilers. So, I'm not gonna really say anything about the story at this point. I mean, again, it's been already out for, about like a month. So, what do I think of the show? Is it good? Is it bad? And, I'm gonna let you decide if you've already seen the show or not. So, anyways, if you have, what do you guys think? Leave it down in the comments. So, with that said, here is my take on Kamen Rider Gotchard for like the first 4 episodes that I've seen so far. So I'm gonna have to start with the first 2 episodes because I think they're meant to set up the story and kind of like the world of Kamen Rider Gotchard. I mean, it's like your pretty typical Japan, but what exactly are the chemis? You know, of course, like how Hotaro gets his powers, and all that stuff. So what does he need to do? And it's pretty much explained for these 2 episodes, so you get a pretty good gist of what the show is going to be like in general, like how the story is going to progress, and what sorts of things you might expect to happen from the show. And uh overall, like, these introductory episodes are okay in my opinion. So they're not like very impressive. They were definitely fun. So especially like the first episode, it was like it was definitely entertaining. Episode 2 was okay, but then we get to episode 3 where I don't know, it feels kind of bland in my opinion. Like, it was just so mid. Like, it's not really that bad of an episode, but it definitely wasn't as exciting as the previous 2 episodes, especially when we are introduced to Valvarad, or Spanner, as he is known in his civilian form. So he's meant to be this like badass rival, but like the best thing he does is like drop 2 lines on Hotaro and leaves. Like, he was trying to get his hands on like chemis, and uh, of course, like, he and Hotaro obviously had different views. So uh like, yeah, like, you drop 2 lines and just leave it at that. And then his introduction as Valvarad, so when he does transform, like, what, he only does it for like 2 seconds. I mean, I get it, like, he's going to be like this badass anti-hero rival character, but like, you could have shown more. I mean, yeah, you see Spanner stalking around in the corner, like in the previous episode, and then you actually introduce him in episode 3. But yeah, it was a little bit boring in my opinion. But then we get to episode 4. While definitely not as exciting as, again, like the first 2 episodes, it definitely was better than episode 3 in my opinion. So, like, there's a little bit of stability in it's the best way I can put it. It was stable. It definitely wasn't like something that's gonna get your blood pumping with excitement and stuff like that, but like, it definitely showed a lot of good plot points, a lot of character, especially with the interaction between Hotaro and Rinne. So definitely a lot of you know, Gotchard's plot is going to revolve around these two characters, and definitely a lot of fans are already gonna be clamoring for Rinne to be a writer herself, probably even the tertiary writer. And might I say, and probably some other people might say this as well, she does have sort of this resemblance, and not just in looks actually, but in characterization with Yua Yaiba of Kamen Rider 01. So considering that, of course, 01 is the first Kamen Rider in the Reiwa era, and Gotchard is the fifth rider in the Reiwa era, of course, and having like similarly characterized, and again, like actually like similar looking female protagonists. Yeah, I would say you as a female protagonist. Uh, I think there's a slight homage, if not not really connection, but like a good homage, if you ask me. But again, like their interaction is something that I actually kind of look forward to. So now moving on to probably what I think is the weakest point of the show so far, which is Hotaro himself, Kamen Rider Gotchard. I mean, I can forgive like the acting, uh, because this could most likely be, you know, the actor's debut, you know, in a TV series. So I can forgive that. However, Hotaro is a character, well, I could say he is likable. He really wasn't as impactful as his predecessor. Like, Ace was just oozing with charisma, while sure, Hotaro wins in the relatability aspect. Like, he is a normal high school student, and a lot of course, high school students are gonna be watching Kamen Rider Gotchard, and you know they probably or you know, a lot of them would probably see themselves in Hotaro as a person, but definitely like as a character overall. Like, I would dare say that Ace so far, at least amongst all the Reiwa Kamen Riders, stands out with that level of charisma. Like Kamen Rider Revised, like Ikki, for example, like he is, how would you say, by himself is definitely not gonna make much of an impact. He needed Vice to become a character that everyone could remember. So I think that's some sort of cheating. Like, you need two separate characters. Although yes, we know that uh, Vice is you know, most literally like the dark side of Iki manifested. So it, like, Vice and Iki can be considered the same person, if you will, but again, like dividing him into two separate characters, uh, although that's the way that makes the show work, or that's what made the show work, I think. But again, like looking at Iki, because he's the main protagonist, without Vice, Iki would have been pretty boring in my opinion as well. Like, Naruto actually, like, well, he made an impact as a character, but definitely he was also with Izu, and well, I would say the next best character that could stand on his own, was Toma. Of course, like you have the other riders around him, considering that Kamen Rider Saber had multiple riders, but as a character on his own, Toma, like he was kind of memorable in my opinion, probably because of the meme, but like he was an okay character that grew and was able to show himself as the main protagonist with all of the hardships that he's gone through. But I guess it's too early to say. Again, we're just 4 episodes in with Gotchard, so maybe Hotaro may be able to, grow as a character, and maybe the acting might improve a little bit as well. I'm not really expecting much in that regard, but I'm just gonna give the kids some leeway and help, like, just complain less. I would say it's not totally bad, but again, understandable. He's a rookie actor, and uh, like I could forgive uh such acting. I mean, it's a kids show, so probably not gonna be don't expect much from the acting side, unless like you hire a really good actor that had really good charisma, aka Ace. So while Geets wasn't really my favorite writer of all time, you would definitely remember the show because you remember the main protagonist. That's what made, I think, Kamen Rider Geats quite popular, because you have that kind of main protagonist. So, although in Hotaro, I do see similarities with two previous writers. So, number one, Sogo Tokiwa. I think uh, in that regard, uh, Hotaro is quite similar. Like, uh, he doesn't. Both of them don't know what they want to be. Although Sogo, in maybe since childhood, he wanted to be a king for some reason. But when Hotaro like discovers alchemy, so he wants to be a great alchemist, or like maybe a famous alchemist. I don't know, but that's what he said. So, uh, like in terms of their ambition, and of course being a high school students, they are similar in that regard. And I'm also reminded of another high school student, which is Gentaro Kisaragi, aka Kamen Rider Forze. So again, we have another high school student, although uh in terms of their similarities, so Gentaro wants to befriend everyone in his school. In a way, it is similar to Hotaro, who wants to befriend all of the Kemis. So that's their, I guess that's where the similarities end. But yeah, like I do see that, that strong desire to make friends, basically. The difference is Gentaro wants to befriend everyone at his school. Hotaro wants to befriend the Kemis. But again, yeah, you get the point. So, uh, however, both both Gentaro and Sogo do have like I don't know, like more impactful characters. Definitely, like Gentaro is someone you can remember. Like he has like he's loud, he's very animated, and of course like his style, like like who normally goes to school with a pompadour every day. So again, like Gentaro is definitely one of the most memorable characters in the franchise, in my opinion. Again, given his style and personality. Now, Sogo made a name for himself because he wanted to be a king. Although I would say it was just fortunate that So Okuno, the actor who played, um, uh, you know, Sogo Tokiwa, he was fortunate to be in an anniversary Kamen Rider, so uh, I guess that kind of like boosted the popularity of Go, in my opinion. But like acting wise, I think like Sogo is better than Hotaro, in my opinion. Uh, but again, I'm still looking at the potential for Hotaro's actor to grow within the show and show me. Hopefully, the writers give him good character development, like good enough to see the actor improve. Again, I'm not expecting that much, but I think like even like a little bit of improvement later on, I think that's okay. So uh, that is my main gripe with the show so far. Like, again, like a character who is not as interesting at first glance. A character who requires others to become more interesting, but I think that's okay. That's maybe how the writers intend him to be, but I do think like main protagonists, whether in Kamen Rider or in any franchise, really, so like they need to stand out. They need like you like they need to let the viewers know that they are the main protagonist. uh of course, like you can start with, in let's say, like a wimpy kid who becomes a hero, but of course, like we need to see that development. So maybe hopefully it does happen within the timeline of the show. So again, I still have my hopes in that regard. I don't know how many times I've said in that regard in the past minute alone, now that I realize it. But anyways, uh enough of the sidetrack. So moving on to probably my favorite part of the show, which is the insert track, Rising Fighter. So Rising Fighter is sung by Beverly Kamen. If you have been watching Kamen Rider, you probably should know who she is, because she was the singer for Be the One, the opening theme of Kamen Rider Build. That's right, she's back with another song for the franchise, and this time we have Gotchard. Like, the opening theme is nice. Okay, don't get me wrong. So back on actually had provided like a theme song, not like a not really a theme song, but an insert song for Kamen Rider Geats, which is Chair, the theme song for Kamen Rider Tycoon Bujin Sword. So it was a banger. I love it. And again, like back on's theme song definitely shows like it just fits, but I think Rising Fighter deserves to be an opening of its own for like uh you know like it's just as good as the opening. Maybe I'm biased here, like Pinoy pride, maybe. But by the way, to those who don't know, just in case, Beverly is in fact Filipino. So I'm just gonna put it out there. So uh, you know, uh, be proud of your own. I guess be proud of your own kind. I rarely talk about it. Actually, it's the first time I've talked about it, but yeah, but in any case, uh Beverly is just so good. Like, I just feel that it's just too good to be an insert song. Like, it should be, or it can be an opening theme for Gotchard, really. So, well, again, don't get me wrong, back on's chemistry is very nice. It just fits, like thinking about the story, it just fits. However, like things that get your blood pumping, like it's become, I think it's quite an iconic theme song that's gonna be on the level of things like Hatenaki Inochi from Kamen Rider, um, Ryuki, like that kind of level, because considering like when they're used, right? So Hatenaki Inochi and Rising Fighter are theme songs that are played when the main rider or any common rider would be delivering their finishing move. So again, like the timing is just perfect when you play them. So uh, that's when it gets you really hyped up for the finisher. Like even if like, well, I'm not exactly that much of a fan of Gotchard's finishing moves. Like, I think his typical rider kick is, well, it is unique. Like, you see him transform into Grasshopper, and then he transforms back into Rider, and then delivers the rider kick. But other than that, it's not much of like, it's okay. It's not an iconic rider kick, but it's a rider kick, in my opinion. Uh, but it's just that music gets you hyped up. That's why I love it so much. Like, uh, like, like even if the scene doesn't look that awesome, in my opinion, like you'd still get me to watch because of that music. So, I guess that's the best part of Gotchard for me. So overall, what do I think of the show? It's overall still mid. So it's not a bad watch. It's entertaining in. There are definitely parts of the show that are entertaining in my opinion, but it's definitely not as, again, like exciting as the twists that you have with the Kamen Rider Geats, for example. Like, there's definitely a bit of familiarity in terms of the like how the story goes. Like, definitely, like you've seen it before. It like Kamen Rider is going back to a what you call like tried and tested formula, which works, but you've seen it work before, right? With a lot of their shows, I would say. But in terms of the pacing, like it's a stable pace, I would say. uh, I would probably think it's maybe some people would think it's a bit slow, again. mm, uh, but I think that's okay for now. Again, it's not bad in general, but it wasn't definitely as exciting or as eventful as Geats. So I just feel bad that it's definitely over. I think it's still definitely overshadowed by its predecessor in terms of the plot or the story, because you know let's say with Kamen Rider Geats, even the first 9 episodes felt like a full season in itself, because of like the setting, like riders trying to compete for their desires, their wishes to come true, right? There's already a lot of tension, and there's already a lot to look forward to each episode, like what's gonna happen next, who's gonna betray who, right? Who's gonna win? Like those things, like you already have in your mind. When you start thinking of them, you get more excited, and you watch the next episode, you look forward to it. But with Kamen Rider Gotchard, again, like I said, there's a tried and tested formula that Toei's going back to, but like you would expect, like, yes, there's another Kemi that they need to catch. Uh, Maybe another person would turn into a monster when they get in contact with a Kemi, and Hotaro is going to have to beat that monster in order to free the Kemi from the evil person and catch them in his cards. Again, you know how it's going to be, right? You can expect where the story is going, at least for the first, I don't know, for the first arc of the show. So, what you would expect for now is Hotaro trying to catch all 108 Kemi for his Kemi collection and become the Kemi master that he's going to be the best Kemi master like no one ever was. So, yeah, but who knows? There may be some twists in the future that we might not expect, that probably would have us looking forward to future episodes. And again, it's still very early on in the show, so there are still lots of possibilities. So, with that said, oh, I almost forgot. So, talking about the enemies in the show, so what I would say, the Sisters of Fate. So, I forgot to talk about them, by the way. So sorry. I almost finished this video without talking about them because I love the villains. And my favorite character so far, to be completely honest, is Cloto. Please step on me. Yes. So Cloto is actually portrayed by Kanon Miyahara. So if you don't know her, she's actually a Kamen Rider veteran actress who has appeared in Kamen Rider Amazons. So, if you have seen Kamen Rider Amazons, you'll definitely recognize her. And if you haven't, I highly recommend that you watch it if you want to get to know her, because she is, by the way, a real life martial artist who actually competes in fights. Do not underestimate her, please. So, if you want to see a badass actress, like, actually kicking butt on camera, please watch her. And the characters of Lachesis and Atropos, Atropos being, I think, like the youngest villain in Kamen Rider history, or at least the actress who plays Atropos is definitely like the youngest in Kamen Rider history so far. Like, their dynamic looks very interesting, and as villains, like, you are convinced that they're villains, but they're villains that, I don't know, like, uh, not that like you hate them, but like I definitely like watching them. Like, what? Oh, like, they're interesting villains to watch. Like, what are their motivations? We don't know yet, but we don't really know yet. But they definitely want to have control of the Gotchard driver and all of the chemis. So, um, although I do have a general idea, but I'm gonna talk about it in the future probably. So I do love the villains. They're definitely ones that I want to look forward to. So yeah. With that said, like, overall, again, like, Kamen Rider Gotchard is okay. I think its main problem is the main protagonist, which is, again, like, a main protagonist who's not very impactful, to say the least. But again, like, overall, it's okay. Like, Watch it if you want. Enjoy it as it is. But again, before you do, if you haven't started yet, don't expect too much. That's my final say. Like, so far, I would say it's like still a 3.5 out of 5 so far. Whether it changes over the course of time, or it stays the same, or maybe even downgrades, I don't know. Uh, but again, it's decent. It's quite mid, but it's bearable, at least in my opinion. So anyways, that's all that I can say for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this long rant. Not really rant. I wasn't really complaining about stuff, but this ramble about the Kamen Rider Gotchard. But anyways, what do you think of Kamen Rider Gotchard so far? Again, let me know down in the sorry, I said description. Anyways, let me know down in the comments. So as always, thank you so much for watching. Please do leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JEFusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you next time. Bye.